One small gesture can sometimes make all the difference. That's exactly what occurred to me, Kelly. 3 weeks until my engagement celebration. I was thrilled to marry Michael, my 5-year partner, at the age of 30. This was the party we had been preparing for months, and everything was going as planned. But then, my mother called unexpectedly. She yelled into the telephone, "Kelly, please cancel the engagement party." In disbelief, I almost dropped my phone. "What? Are you serious, Mother?" "I hope it was a joke. I requested not to be taken lightly. We're celebrating your engagement because Lauren was recently promoted." She explained that my parents have always had a soft spot for my sister Lauren, who is 4 years my junior. However, this was insane on a completely different scale. "Come on, Mom." "I've been working on this for a long time, trying not to lose my cool," I replied. "I'm not canceling just because Lauren received a promotion at work." "Kelly, do not be self-centered. Your sister is very excited about this. Different party, same guests, simply reschedule," she urged. My temper was getting the best of me. "No way. Mother, we're discussing my engagement here. I am not going to cancel." "The story is over," I said forcefully. Her voice was so high that it hurt my ears as she started ranting. I paid no attention at all. I have just ended the call. I sat there staring at my phone, and childhood memories came flooding back. Lauren always came first, and I came second. My parents had forgotten about my 18th birthday until my grandmother called to wish me a happy birthday. That's when I realized they hurriedly planned a depressing celebration using a grocery store, a cake, and a gift card. It was pitiful, especially in light of the lavish 5-day celebration they had planned for Lauren's 15th birthday. Only a few months earlier, Michael walked in at that exact moment. He could tell something wasn't right from the look on my face. Seated next to me, he asked, "Kelly, what's going on?" I told Michael everything that had happened, including my mother's call, her demands, and all the memories that came flooding back. He listened carefully, and with each word, I could see his frustration grow. He said, "That is ridiculous." Once I was finished, "We are not canceling anything." I nodded, grateful for his support. "I understand, but why don't they ever put me first?" "Only once," I questioned as my irritation grew. "Because they do not know." Michael asserted forcefully, "But I put you first. Always." I forced a small smile as I looked up at him. "I understand that is the foolish reason I am marrying you." We reviewed our plans and ensured that everything was perfect for the rest of the night. As I went to bed, I tried not to think about my family. I was not going to let them have my moment. It was my time. I was determined to ignore my mother's bizarre call and focus on the party. When I woke up the next morning, I had a long list of tasks to complete, such as organizing decorations and sending out invitations. My phone vibrated. My cousin Julie was also present. "Hello, Kelly. How is it going between you and Michael? I heard you two split up." She wrote a text message. Bewildered, I looked at my phone. "How did she get that idea?" I typed back quickly. "What? Not at all. We are all fine with her. Were you told that?" Julie replied right away. "Strange. Your mother informed her that the engagement was off, according to Aunt Olivia." My stomach fell like a stone. I immediately called Julie. "What's happening?" As soon as she picked up, I inquired. "I am not sure." "Kelly." "When Aunt Olivia called last night," she stated, "your mother informed her that Michael and you had a major argument and that you needed to cancel everything. Instead, she suggested that we all go to Lauren's promotion celebration." I had the sensation of being punched in the stomach. "All of that is a lie, Julie. The celebration continues, and we remain engaged. Mom asked me to pull out of Lauren's event, but I refused. A pause occurred." "Oh no. Kelly, I sincerely apologize. I was unaware of this. I spoke with Julie on the phone for an hour in an attempt to figure out what happened. My mother had, it turned out, called all of the relatives on the guest list behind my back, fabricating a wild story about Michael and me breaking up and directing them all to Lauren's promotion party to relax. I inhaled deeply. "I'll clean up the mess. Could you please inform people that the engagement is still going strong?" I inquired. "Of course," Julie responded without hesitation. "I will start calling people right now." After we hung up, I sat on my couch trying to process everything. My own mother attempted to disrupt my engagement party. It was almost too bizarre to believe. Michael found me there an hour later, after he returned home from work. He could tell something was wrong from the look on my face. I told Michael about Mom's phone calls, lies, and how she redirected everyone to Lauren's party with every word. I could see the rage rising in his eyes. "That is it," he said when I was finished. "We're cutting them off, all of them. Your parents, Lauren, the entire group." I knew he was correct, but the thought of cutting off my family terrified me. Even though they mistreated me, they were still my family. "Let's start by fixing this," I said. "We need to let everyone know that the engagement is still on." Michael nodded with determination. "Okay, where do we start?" We spent the remainder of the night doing damage control, sending emails, making phone calls, and posting on social media. I composed a lengthy message explaining everything and sent it to everyone on our guest list. It was exhausting and humiliating to repeatedly explain that Michael and I had not broken up, and yes, the engagement party was still going on. It was well past midnight when we finished. My voice was hoarse from all the talking, and my eyes hurt from staring at screens. "We did it," Michael said, drawing me into a hug. "Everything is going to be okay." I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't get past the feeling that this was only the beginning. Mom's betrayal had reopened old wounds, all the times I had been overlooked. Lord had always been a favorite. Everything came rushing back. The next day, I decided to go see Aunt Nicole. She's my father's sister and has always been very nice to me. I figured I'd invite her to the engagement party in person and clear up any confusion once I got to her house. I heard voices from the living room. I was about to say hello when I overheard something that made me stop in my tracks. I cannot believe Kelly would do such a thing. Aunt Nicole says she's canceling her own engagement party to spite her sister. So childish. My heart sank. It was another lie told by my own family to conceal the first one. I was about to break in and correct the record when another voice chimed in. "I understand, right? Poor Lauren must be devastated. After all of your hard work to get promoted, and now Kelly is attempting to steal her thunder." I recognized the voice. It was my cousin Maria. I always assumed we were close, but there she was. Does something to me behind my back? I could not take it anymore. I entered the room and asked, "Is that really what you think of me?" Both women jumped as if they had witnessed a ghost. Aunt Nicole was the first to recover quickly, wearing a fake smile. "Kelly, sweetheart. We didn't hear you enter." "Obviously," I replied with a cold voice. "I came to invite you to my engagement party, but it appears that you have already made up your mind about me." Maria at least had the decency to appear embarrassed. "Kelly, we did not mean to save it." I cut her off. "I'd like to know exactly what Mom told you for the next hour." I listened as they revealed every detail of Mom's twisted story. According to her, when I learned about Lauren's promotion, I threw a fit and demanded that she reschedule her celebration, which she refused. I allegedly canceled my own engagement party out of spite, claiming that I would rather not marry at all than share the spotlight. It was yet another lie from my family. By the time they had finished, I was trembling with anger. "None of that is true," I replied, my voice shaking. Mom called and demanded that I cancel my engagement party so that Lauren could celebrate. I refused, and now she's spreading lies to sabotage me. I told them everything: forgotten birthdays, constant comparisons, years of feeling inadequate and unworthy. By the time I was done, both women were in tears. "Oh, Kelly," and Nicole said, reaching for my hand. "We had no idea. We should have known better than to believe such outrageous stories." I took a deep breath, trying to relax. "Look, I appreciate your apology, but I really need your help right now. The engagement party is still scheduled, and I need you to spread the word. Can you do that?" The goats nodded enthusiastically. I'm relieved to have the chance to make things right. As I left Nicole's house, I was confused and angry at Mom's betrayal. I was hurt that my family so easily believed the worst about me, but I was also hopeful. At least some of the truth was revealed. The big day arrived, and I was nervous as Michael and I walked up the hall. I held my breath as we pushed open the doors, bracing for whatever might be inside. But holy cow, I could not believe my eyes. The place was crowded with people. Smiling faces turned to greet us, and a warm, fuzzy feeling came over me. The room was packed with relatives, not just those we had managed to contact the day before, but also faces I hadn't seen in a long time. I can't believe everyone came. I spoke, my voice choked up. Uncle Paul, my father's brother, approached and gave Michael a hearty slap on the back. Of course we arrived. Did you really think we would miss it? I've got to say, those rumors about your canceled engagement spread like wildfire, but it appears they backfired spectacularly. Somebody said. I laughed and felt lighter than I had in weeks. I suppose they did. Michael and I made our way through the crowd, taking in all the congratulations and well wishes. I couldn't help but notice that Mom, Dad, and Lauren weren't present. No texts or emails, not even a hesitant congratulations. Surprisingly, their absence felt like a relief rather than a disappointment. Instead, I was drawn to Michael's parents, who looked at us with genuine pride and love. His mother hugged me tightly and whispered, "We're so proud of you, Kelly. You're already part of our family." The party was in full swing when a commotion broke out near the dance floor. I could not believe my eyes. My 83-year-old grandmother was in the middle, performing what she described as an incendiary dance from her youth. Come on, young ones. She called out, her eyes twinkling with mischief. Let me show you how we used to dance back in the day. The audience went wild as Grandma twirled and swayed, moving surprisingly well for her age. Others quickly joined in, and the dance floor transformed into an incredible multi-generational dance-off. As I mingled with the guests, I couldn't help but overhear stories about the family drama that had led up to today. Can you believe what Kelly's mother attempted to do? I overheard Cousin Maria say this to another relative. She attempted to cancel her own daughter's engagement party due to her other daughter's work obligations. It's nuts. I know, the other voice said. Kelly has always gotten the short end of the stick in his family. I'm glad she's finally standing up for herself, rather than being embarrassed or upset by these conversations. I felt validated for once. My relatives saw the truth about my family dynamics and supported me. As the night progressed, I found myself feeling genuinely happy and celebrated. Perhaps for the first time in my life, the absence of my immediate family, which I had been so concerned about, felt like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. The day after our fantastic engagement party, Michael and I were relaxing on the couch, reminiscing about the night before when my phone rang. My stomach turned when I realized it was my mother calling against my better judgment. I answered the phone. Hello, you ungrateful and nasty girl. Mom's voice screeched over the phone. How dare you? I held the phone away from my ear, her angry rant audible even from a distance. Michael looked at me with concern, but I shook my head, indicating that I could handle it. Mom? What? Don't you, Mom? She cut me off. You have humiliated your sister. Only 5 people showed up for her party. 4 of them. Those nosy old people answered, Go to anything. I took a deep breath and tried to remain calm. I'm sorry you're disappointed, but disappointment is inevitable. Lauren is crushed. She cried all night. It was supposed to be her moment, and you ruined it through your selfishness. I could feel my patience slipping. Mom, I have been planning my engagement party for months. Lauren's promotion party was a last-minute decision, and she was aware that it would clash with my engagement. That is no excuse. Kelly, family comes first, but you clearly do not understand that. She hung up on me right after the call, before I could respond. My phone vibrated with a text message from Lauren *. I hope you're happy. You have ruined everything. I will make you pay for this humiliation. *. I showed Michael the message, and he frowned. She cannot be serious. The next 3 weeks were quiet, and I began to suspect the storm had passed. But one afternoon, there was an unexpected knock on our door. I opened it to see Michael's parents standing there, worried. Mr. and Mrs. Adam, what a surprise. Is everything okay? I asked. They exchanged glances before Mrs. Adam spoke. Kelly dear, may we come in? We need to talk with you about something. My heart sank as I led them into the living room. When we were all seated, Mr. Adam cleared his throat. Kelly, we've heard some troubling rumors. There have been allegations that you have been cheating on Michael. I felt as though I had been slapped. What? That is ridiculous. I would never. "We understand, dear," Mrs. Adams said gently. "We have known you for years. We don't believe it for 1 second." Relief washed over me quickly, followed by anger, as I realized where these rumors most likely originated. It quote s my sister. I spoke, my voice shaking the bed. She threatened to get back at me for ruining her promotion party. She must be telling these lies. Mr. Adam nodded grimly. "We figured as much. We wanted to approach you directly rather than spread these rumors." As they left, they promised to help dispel any rumors they had heard. I felt jumbled inside. Adam's encouragement and belief in me moved me, but I was also furious with Lauren. How could she go so low? A few days after the incident with Michael's parents, I received a call from Mai. Her usually cheerful voice sounded worried. "Kelly, sweetie," she began, "I've heard about all of this drama with your parents, and Lauren. Isn't quote it time to bury the hatchet?" I sighed, aware of the weight of her expectations. "Grandma, it's not so simple. They've really harmed me. I understand, honey, but they're family. Surely there's a way to make things better." I could hear the plea in her voice, and it tugged at my heart. Grandma had always supported me, even when the rest of my family wasn't. I hated disappointing her. "What do you think I should do?" I inquired, already dreading the response. "Why don't you try to reach out, make a peaceful offering, demonstrate your willingness to mend fences?" I closed my eyes, torn between my love for Grandma and my desire to protect myself. After a long pause, I sighed. "Okay, Grandma, I will try for you. That evening." I stood at my parents' doorstep. Heart is pounding. As soon as I stepped inside, I knew things were not going to go well. Lauren was there, her face filled with rage. So she spit. "Do you think you can just come in here and throw me a pity party?" "That's not what I mean." I started, but she interrupted me. "Kelly, I don't need your handouts. Do you think that compensates for what you did? I should have held my party on your day. Then people would have shown up." I stared at her, surprised by the bitterness in her voice. "Lauren, I am trying to make things right. Make it right," she screeched. "You ruined everything as usual. It is all about you." I left to my parents, hoping for some support, but they just stood there nodding with Lauren. "Kelly is correct," her mother said. "You've always been very selfish." I felt something snap inside me without saying a word. I turned and walked away, ignoring their calls behind me. Later, I went to see my grandmother again. She made me with a hopeful smile. "How did things go, dear?" Instead of answering, I took out my phone. "Grandma, I think you should hear this. Her eyes widened with surprise, but she simply nodded. When I pressed play, Lauren's furious voice filled the room. I saw Grandma's face shift from hope to shock, then to deep disappointment. "What?" It was finished. There was a prolonged silence. Then, to my surprise, Grandmother reached out and took my hand. "Oh, Kelly," she said, her voice full of emotion. I quote, "I'm very sorry. I had no idea it was so bad. I apologize to you. I should not have pushed you to reconcile." I felt tears welling up in my eyes. "It's okay. Grandma, you did not know?" She shakes her head. "No, that's not okay. I should have believed you from the beginning. I just wanted our family to be whole. We sat in silence for a while, reflecting on what had happened. Finally, Grandma spoke again. "Kelly, dear, I want you to know something. Family is more than just blood. It is about love, respect, and support. And based on what I've seen and heard, Michael and his family provide that. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for pursuing your happiness. The morning after my heart-to-heart with Grandmother, I awoke to my phone buzzing furiously. My parents sent me a flood of angry text messages. My heart sank as I read them, realizing that Grandma must have informed them about the recording. "How dare you record our private conversations?" Mom's message screamed that you are nothing more than a sneaky, ungrateful snitch. Dad, quote, S message was equally as bad. "I can't believe you would secretly record us and then play it for your grandmother. You have betrayed this family for the final time." I felt like I had been punched in the gut, despite having evidence of their behavior. They continue to make me the bad guy. This was the final straw. I was finished with my toxic family. In the weeks that followed, I tried to prioritize work and my relationship with Michael, But Lauren had different plans. Her spitefulness went into overdrive when she began harassing me. It started with whispers at work. Colleagues would go silent when I entered a room, only to resume whispering as soon as I left. Lauren had been spreading negative rumors about me, calling me incompetent, and telling outright lies about my personal life. Then came the anonymous messages on social media. Hateful comments appeared on my posts. Each one is nastier than the last. I couldn't prove it was Lauren, but the tone and content gave me little doubt. Lauren, quote, S. cruel behavior reached a new low when she attempted to contact Michael. One evening, he returned home looking troubled. Kelly, I received an unusual call today. He said it was Lauren. She tried to tell me that you were cheating on me. I felt blood draining from my face. What? Michael, you know that isn't true. He quickly reassured me. Of course, I understand. I rejected her right away, but Kelly, things are getting out of hand. I nodded, feeling a mix of anger and exhaustion. I know, but I don't know how to make it stop. I didn't have to do much. Lauren's obsession with revenge started to backfire on her. She became so focused on trying to make my life miserable that her work began to suffer. She spent more and more time plotting against me, and her co-workers noticed. They saw her constantly whispering and spending long stretches on her phone instead of doing her job. It wasn't long before her bosses noticed too. I heard through the office grapevine that Lauren received an official warning for her poor performance. But even that didn't seem to slow her down. Then, about a month into her harassment campaign, the news broke. Lauren had been demoted. The irony was clear to everyone. The promotion. She had been so desperate to celebrate, the one that had started this whole mess was now taken away. After the drama with Lauren finally settled down, I threw myself into wedding planning like it was my full-time job. We finally picked a beautiful outdoor venue, a fairy tale garden with a charming gazebo where we'd say our ideas. As we stood there imagining our big day, Michael gave my hand a gentle squeeze. Are you happy? He asked softly. I looked up at him, feeling all warm and fuzzy inside, happier than I've ever been. I replied, and I truly meant it. With the venue set, we moved on to choosing our wedding party. I asked my closest friends, the ones who'd stuck by me through all the craziness, to be my bridesmaids. They all said yes, which made me even more excited. Then came the guest list. I sat at our dining table, addressing envelopes to all the relatives and friends who had supported us during the past few chaotic months. As I wrote each name, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for these people who had shown me what real family is all about. But when I got to the bottom of my list, I paused. There were 3 names I hadn't written: Mom, Dad, and Lauren. I stared at those blank spaces, feeling the swirl of emotions inside me. Michael found me there, staring at the paper. Are you okay? He asked, putting a comforting hand on my shoulder. I looked up at him, tears in my eyes. I don't think I can invite them, Michael, not after everything that's happened. He nodded, understanding. It's your call, Kelly. Whatever you decide, I've got your back. I took a deep breath and put down the pen. No comma, I said, my voice stronger than I expected. They don't deserve to be there. This day is about celebrating love and support, and that's not something they've shown me. I felt a wave of relief sweep over me as I decided the purpose of this wedding was to begin a new chapter in the company of people who genuinely loved us. With Michael at my side. I knew I was making the correct decision. I experienced a tremendous weight being lifted off my shoulders as soon as I spoke those words. Realizing that severing my links with my toxic family was the best course of action for my future was a bittersweet moment. Of course, there was sadness, but it was tinged with a profound sense of relief. The weeks passed too quickly, and before I knew it, our wedding day had arrived. I was standing in my bridal room, adjusting my veil in front of the mirror, when I felt a sudden peace that I hadn't felt in years. As I moved down the aisle toward Michael, I noticed the faces of everyone who had stood by us. Michael's parents smiled with pride. My grandmother was wiping her eyes with a handkerchief, thanking our friends and family for their support throughout our family's strife. We're all grinning broadly. These were my folks. They were the ones who had shown me what true support and love looked like. Michael took my hands in his eyes glistening with love as I approached him. When we exchanged vows, I felt a deep sense of righteousness. I was supposed to be here. I realized that my engagement party all those months ago was about more than just celebrating our upcoming marriage at the reception, where there was much laughing and happiness. It was the first day of my new life, one in which I was in control of my own happiness rather than an outsider. I felt very at ease as I rested my head on Michael's shoulder, as we swan into our first dance together. Undoubtedly, the journey had been difficult, but it had led me to this point of resilience, insight, and genuine joy. Michael murmured in my ear. "I love you," I responded, my heart pounding with emotion. "I also love you." I realized that no matter what life threw at us, we would get through it together. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't worried about the future. I was ecstatic about it. With Michael by my side, I was ready to take the plunge into this new beginning.